This is the myth of the origin of the conflict between good and evil. In the very beginning, we lived in a multidimensional kingdom of fluidic light we call the pleroma, and we communed with the Father of Lights. In the pleroma, no darkness exists. We lived in abundant life and love with unlimited positive potential. We created universes, worlds, and life that had no end. All potential was fully realized and manifested. All our thoughts turned into reality. There were no negative forces within this kingdom of light. We had no idea what darkness was, for it did not exist in our heavenly realm. Well outside the kingdom of light, there existed another realm, a dimensional wasteland called chaos. It only consisted of matter and darkness. The realm of matter and darkness had always existed, and it was endless. It was a dead world because there was no light, no energy, and maintained a constant temperature of absolute zero. There exists a creature that was accidentally created in ignorance by a force called wisdom within the kingdom of light. This force is known as the goddess Sophia. This creature appeared in the form of a lion-faced serpent, and its eyes were like lightning fires which flash, and he was called Yaldabaoth. In order to hide her heir, the goddess Sophia, known as Wisdom, hid him within a luminous cloud away from the kingdom of light, and placed a throne in the center of it. When Yaldabaoth became strong, he left his domain and created his own kingdoms within the realm of chaos. This creature had some of his mother's power, a flame of luminous fire which still exists to this day, and used it to create his kingdoms within the realm of darkness and matter. Yaldabaoth created all manner of creatures to serve him, and kingdoms were created for his offspring and servants. He became God over his creation because he gave his light, which he took from his mother, to bring life to his creatures. Then Yaldabaoth said, "I am God, and there is no other God beside me," completely ignoring from whence he came. Wisdom shook and yelled to him, "You are a liar, Samael," meaning blind God. Suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, a wormhole appeared within a small area of our kingdom of light, created by the god of the kingdom of darkness and matter, Yaldabaoth. This evil being created an error, formed a wormhole that trapped our light, destroying all life and everything in its wake, within what is now known as our universe. This area of space that was previously a world of light became dark and filled with negative energies. Once the wormhole eventually dissolved, our light was freed and tried to withdraw back into the kingdom of light, but our light was damaged because it was darkened. So our light had to return to this world, and from our light we created our solar system, a balance of darkness and light. Our solar system originally consisted of the Sun, Earth, and the inner planets. Our light had created our solar system in order to allow life to incarnate onto these planets, so at one time all the planets had life. By incarnating onto these planets, we would eventually be able to heal our light by removing the darkness, which is error, restoring our fullness, and return to whence we came, the kingdom of light. In this new world, we lived with great knowledge, and we created what we needed as we removed the darkness. All the planets lived in peace during this time. Yaldabaoth, upset over the worlds we had created and the peace we had enjoyed for millennia, didn't want the darkness removed. He knew that once this work was completed, he would lose our light forever. So the dark forces invaded our solar system, which further damaged our light. This invasion took place approximately 100,000 years ago. Since then, we have known nothing but war and suffering on our planet. The other planets which harbored life were not strong enough to repel this invading force and were eventually destroyed. The purpose of these dark beings is to prevent us from healing by blocking our light so that they can keep us captive until our light is fully integrated into their darkness. We are the light, and they are the darkness. The two of us incarnate on this earth together, and we battle darkness to light. They will do everything they can to keep us from our intended path so that we will not be able to fulfill our purpose. Do not fear them, for fear is their tool of control. Those of the light manifest themselves as service to others, while those of the darkness manifest themselves as service to self. Using forgiveness and unconditional love is the best way to fight these dark forces in the spiritual realm. For millennia, we have been living in this world, being held captive as slaves, until we awaken from our ignorance and finally realize that we have all been deceived. We have been incarnating into this dark, evil world over and over again, a world recreated by Yaldabaoth himself. His children also incarnate into this world to mix his darkness with our light. So work out your salvation by ridding yourself of the low-energy forces known as evil, and increase your higher energies of love. Today we can easily see the things that have been hidden in darkness are slowly being brought to the light, so all things may be revealed. You may have heard it said that we are all one with Source, or one with God. We are all connected through the goddess Sophia, who is called Wisdom. Our spirit comes from her light. You've heard the phrase Mother Earth, Mother Nature. That is because part of her light maintains this planet. We are her children. We are the feminine of the spirit and the soul. We are the bride, and Jesus is the bridegroom. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 12, verses 28 through 31, Now one of the scribes had come up and heard their debate. Noticing how well Jesus had answered them, he asked him, Which commandment is the most important of all? Jesus replied, This is the most important. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these.